right, Arun. Kiran. Kiran, so like, can you tell us how exactly is your prediction from an Indian perspective after the Venezuela attack? That you've been educating me certain things, what's about to come. So, what is your point of perspective that you're telling me all this, knowing that India is also part of BRICS?
Well, US has hit a jackpot now. The jackpot is worth $17 trillion. That is the oil reserves of Venezuela, which US has locked it up for their personal gains, like political gains, because they did not like a communist government. So they said the oil cannot be sold in the international market to punish their economy. So Venezuela's economy went down and they printed more and more money, so their currency collapsed. Now, US will sell Venezuelan oil as though it's their oil wells. Now they have hit a jackpot.
But like from your perspective, okay, they took the oil, but do you think other like nations that been linked to Venezuela for a very long time, do you really expect they're just gonna sit there and not jump in and make their moves? And especially after Russia's announcement, it's been monitoring US for a very long time. Do you think it's going to do any role from your perspective or no? Knowing you are linked to all those nations who are not good allies with the United States. What do you have to say about that?
Yep, they have done the same thing in Iraq. They have done the same thing in Syria, Afghanistan, etc. Yeah, they have taken care of terrorists. No problem with that. Yeah, that's a fantastic job. But the agenda is to show the world dominance their power.
If I may, I kind of
Sure.
Right.
feel like you're both forgetting it's not just a matter of economics. It's also a matter of American national security. Think about
Well, you're going to speak in an Israeli point of view, but go ahead. Go ahead.
yes. Who's Venezuela's allies are: Russia, China, Iran. They have been they're under Maduro's uh, dictatorship. There are Iranian operatives, Hezbollah operatives, and Hamas operatives operating from there, using to launder illegal Iranian exports and get them through the rest of the axis. So for me, I don't see really like it is a an American power move to be sure, but I think that it's not just just oil. Maybe the war in Iraq in 2003 was about the oil, but this is not necessarily just about the oil. It's mostly about national security issues. Also, the war. Also, you need to. Oh, uh, um, yeah, sorry, I got confused for just a moment.
You're getting cut in the middle, but okay. But like, what do you feel you're going to get benefit from this? And is Israeli point of perspective after the Venezuela attack? Do you think you're going to gain anything from this? How is it this beneficial to Israel? Which is why you're here. How is this beneficial to Israel?
I don't know if it's necessarily directly impacts Israel. The hope is it will embolden the Iranians to overthrow the RGC, give
I would
them.
say that's beneficial to Israel if that goes down, the IRGC.
Yeah, hopefully so, because if if there is one dictatorship that needs to be overthrown, it's the Ayatollah regime needs to be overthrown. It's the source of evil, and it needs to be removed by the Iranians.
But a lot of the Israelis, some say Israel's like I heard this in a space, and he was a American veteran soldier. He felt like it's not the Americans' business to knock down the regime. Some feel it is Americans' business to knock down the regime. Many Iranians wanted it, and you're saying exactly what that American veteran's saying. That you feel that Iranians are doing. Why don't you want the Israelis to be a part of this, like to knock it down? Why do you feel it's no good? Like, why do you feel Israel should knock
Because we can't be the ones doing it for them. In the end of the day, Iran belongs to the Iranians. We do not want to control Iran. We want to be friends with the Iranians, not the the Ayatollah regime, but the Iranian people. And let me tell you this: if we could provide any assistance to something organized, perhaps. But right now, in the end of the day, for the change to be effective and lasting, it has to be done by the Iranians themselves. Not to say that that they should be left to their should be abandoned, but in the end of the day, if it's done by them, it will mostly last.
Okay, so I want to ask somebody from like an Indian point of perspective. Now let's go back there. In future, if based on the time trail we have here with all these nations, do you think India should help America, or India's on a better lane on its own with what it currently has? What is your point of perspective there? Because I know many Indians want it. Some Indians feel they're okay with
Well,
it.
well, US cannot be trusted now.
And
After
Iran and China and
sorry,
Russia can.
no, you're getting me on the wrong track. No. US has imposed 50% tariffs on India because
Yeah, and they
they.
put a tariff on Israel as well. You don't see us crying about it. We negotiated and things are stable now.
Okay, see, Israel is much more stronger country. Israel's economy is much more stronger. Their currency is much more strengthier than Indian currency. Think about 1.4 or 5 billion people. We need to take care of our people first, right? And as per the World Trade Organization, the developed countries or the Western countries can allow India to increase the tariff, and the Western countries should decrease their tariffs on India. That is the agreement. Now, Trump has broken that agreement, and Israel can withstand that hit. India cannot. But,
But the reason for the tariff
but
was it's a negotiation tactic, so you will negotiate with him. But you didn't choose
do
to
you know
negotiate
what he wants? Do you know what he wants?
what he wants.
He wants India to open up the agricultural sector, which will destroy our farmers. The reason is US uses a how do you say that genetically altered seeds which grow faster, and it needs lesser stuff, and it has less expensive uh, uh, operational funds. But India does not allow that because they feed uh, non-vegetarian food for their cows. We have certain religious sentiments towards cows and milk. We cannot allow that in Indian market.
Sound like
Due,
something that I believe could be.
due to religious principles, basically. As
Yep.
religious
And
principles,
this is
basically.
something that can't be negotiated on, because I don't think that anybody's opposing to the idea that some amendments to an agreement can be made, because I don't think that now again I speak as an Israeli. I wasn't exactly thrilled when Trump also imposed tariffs on Israel, but in the end of the day, things are not so bad, considering the fact that we have been through a fucking war for the last 3 years. But definitely, I can assure you that just because of the tariffs and everything, whether or not what the United States wants,
So let
I
me ask
don't
you
think that
something, Kiran.
India
I want to ask you
running
something interesting.
headlong into the open arms of Russia, China, and Iran is a better alternative.
Okay, Kiran, I'm
Uh,
going to ask you something interesting. In
well,
your,
1 minute, 1 minute. See,
sorry.
India is not a communist country. Okay, and in we have seen US in 1975, 1971, etc. They have controlled India with wheat. When we had acute shortage of wheat, US controlled us, and in the Portuguese war, in a war with China, war with Pakistan, they have controlled the wheat and left people to die in hunger. when we had the at most requirement for wheat, US used it as a weapon. That is why if we open up our agriculture market, our farmers will take a hit, and they can control our market. That is why we have closed our agriculture market for not just US, for everyone across the world globe. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so you sound like you are on a really good track with your country. Like your country doesn't really need anything from anybody. It's on the high seal. It can manage himself. However, when it comes to BRICS organization, why do you prefer the BRICS organization versus the US dollar? You want to explain to the people that? You sound like you know better of it compared to I do.
Shall I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. See, US has a weapon called dollar. When a country like Russia can be sanctioned, India is no different. Yeah, they can sanction India anytime and cut off India's only trading currency, that is dollar. So we are diversifying our income so that any sanction on India with the currency as a weapon will not impact India. That is a necessary strategy, and India is not supporting any kind of terrorist. India will not negotiate with terrorists. The only option is just 100 rupees bullet. That's it.
Not
Okay.
negotiate with any terrorists except for terrorist countries. And by the way,
If you
just
are
to
talking
remind
about,
everyone
sorry, go ahead.
who listens in the audience, because after all, you requested for me to come here from a position of an Israeli. I admit I don't fully in depth to to the economical, but I am more aware of the geopolitical aspect. And most of the countries in BRICS, as you've mentioned, most all of, almost not almost all of them are claiming two things. First of all, that Israel, falsely by the way, committing a genocide right against Gaza, even though it's stupid considering the fact that there is already a ceasefire. Secondly, many of them are openly crying for the destruction of Israel.
The only one who's not part of that is India, unfortunately, minus the I, but yeah, unfortunately, that is true.
Yeah, when US is after Indian economy, when they sanctioned a big amount of goods, that is more than $40 billion of exports, we need to compensate that with a different alternative, right?
Yeah, like
And that can be
uh,
done only with.
Russian and Iranian
Sorry.
oil.
Sorry. Okay, that can be done only when the dollar is not in the monitoring, because they can monitor all our trades and cut off which is not as per their requirement. I mean, not as per their needs. And regarding Russian oil, India buys Russian oil big time, yes, and that is because we have to acquire a huge amount of oil for huge amount of people with the cheapest price. And
I was
if
just about to say that. So basically,
and if
the
we, if
Russian
anyone,
prices are
sorry,
suitable to you
uh,
compared to the
sorry,
American prices, right?
just a second. Just a second. Lose the flow. If any country disagrees with India, okay, we can agree with any country, no problem. We can cut off Russian oil and purchase from any country with that particular price tag. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that this is more beneficial to India because Russian prices are more reasonable, just like the BRICS economy, compared to the US dollar. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Can I ask
Yes.
something, if I
It's
may?
Russian oil is very, very cheap, and we are able to maintain less than 1% inflation. That is the current inflation, less than 1%. No other country has such a low inflation rate, and
Okay,
that is how we are able to survive, because our transportation and our services, goods and services, are very cheap, because oil is a very huge single import entity, and that will take a hit on our imports and our currency. Go ahead, please.
so I
Uh,
have,
can, can
go
I
ahead,
ask something?
go ahead.
How is exactly buying Russian oil goes right now, considering that most of the Russian refineries have been destroyed during the war, and the production in the Russian production line has almost grind to almost a halt.
India
How,
has the largest oil refinery in the world.
Okay, so
yes,
let
but
me
Russia
ask you.
is
Go ahead.
currently not selling oil. They're buying refined oil right now because they can't refine it themselves right now.
I don't know about Russia because I'm least bothered about their refined oil. We have the largest oil refinery. We buy oil from around the world and sell it even to Ukraine, including Israel and US.
You are selling. You said you're selling, right? Selling oil.
Selling oil, selling refined oil.
Yes, yes, that's exactly what he said. Yes. Okay, so my question to you is based on what you shared about, and we're waiting for our fourth guest. He's going to be here shortly, but like, he's the main one who's going to speak on the American behalf. Hopefully, he arrives soon. But I'll say one thing. Um, why do you feel like, in an Indian perspective, that why do you feel the dollar economy is going to fall? Like, why do you feel like that? Don't say anything Israeli. You can say yours after. I want him to say, like, why does he feel that the American dollar economy is going to go? Why do you feel like that is?
Is that question me or
Yeah,
Sid?
you. He's going to answer after from
Okay.
Israeli perspective. I asked him,
As
why
we
do you
all
feel
know, the unemployment issue in US is all time high, and people who are homeless are all time high. People are living in cars under the flyover and in tents in the world's most richest country, a country with a $26 trillion economy. They are living on streets, and that is almost 10% of the people. Go ahead, please.
like? But like, okay, so away from that, I want to ask you, like, economy wise, like you told me from your perspective that after the Venezuela attack, it's a jackpot for America. Okay, it's a jackpot for America. I get that. But what do you mean by economy wise if like the war continues? Like, why do you feel like the economy of America is going to fall if it goes another year of war? And why do you feel that way?
If US successfully exploits Venezuelan oil, then US will be kind of 50% of the world's economy. Their economy will boost crazily. But if they just set up a privatization in Venezuela and try to negotiate like 50% for me, 50% for you, etc., even then their economy will slowly improve, and the problems like unemployment rate, etc., will come down, and people will not sleep on the streets. They will have better housing, even if they do a 50-50 partnership with Venezuela.
That's your opinion. What's your opinion from an Israeli politician's perspective? Knowing how this in your country works double the dollar, what's your opinion?
That it's kind of a wishful thinking. By the way, I feel like Kiran is conflating economic power to social issues. Homelessness is not necessarily an economic problem; it's a social problem. So I think that uh, need to also remember that, because to be completely fair, India doesn't have a very good track record on that as well. Because I can list the faults of India, and you can feel free to also throw at me the faults of Israel, but you get the point, it remains the same. Economic power and social issues are not the same thing.
Why would you say that? Can you give us like an example that you feel like it's not like the same thing? Give us a like example for like what you mean.
The homelessness issue that Kiran mentioned. People from what I understood, Americans, the American homeless issue is not necessarily just because people don't have money and they're thrown off the streets. It's half true because I realized that there are many programs in the United States that are trying to get people off the streets. But if nobody is enjoying these kind of programs, and it's just going to be stuck like that because most of these people are also drugged out of their minds. They're creating the encampments. They're allowed to create these encampments in mostly democratic strongholds because of, I guess, between virtue signaling and also uh, false mercy, I guess, misguided mercy. Getting the people off the street is easy. Getting the people to become self sufficient and self reliant, to become productive enough to live on their own, live by their own means and get themselves sorted out is a different matter because it just takes someone to want to change. Sorry, to change.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you. Knowing you both know your countries really, really good, and you've shared your perspective regarding the American point of view. So here's my question, and you guys might agree, you might even disagree. Do you think, I know everybody wants this, I know there's nobody who doesn't, but as a result point of view, what do you think that United States going to gain if it knocks out the Iranian regime? Do you think it's good for the United States or no? I want to hear both of y'all because you both know from your country's perspective and how much is what is it gaining, what is not gaining. And according to this conflict, I want to hear from both of you one by one. Like, what do you think the Americans are going to gain if it does knock down the regime? Okay, the speaker number one, Kiran, speak from Indian point of perspective. What do you think Americans going to gain in knocking down the regime? A gain or more stuff to welcome? Go ahead, share.
Gain. It will be a gain.
Okay, you say it's a gain. Okay, Israeli point of perspective. You think it's a gain or it's going to welcome more stuff?
I've actually, I find it funny that you're asking me
Well, yeah, you're here. You're a
because
guest. You're
of
from
course
Israel.
it's a gain. Just the security relief alone, it will be a massive gain to international security. And international security leads to prosperity because then instead of exporting terrorism, countries cooperate more. Of course, the problem is that instead of the RGC, we got the Sunni axis, but that is a problem for another day.
I don't think the Arab countries are like super super powerful or they don't do any harm as much as Iran itself does. But I know
I'm
that
talking about more like countries like Turkey and Qatar.
yeah, yeah, you got a point there. That's a red flag question. So if we were to add those red flag countries by destroying the regime, do you think they will be affected and that's going to be a win for the US than to babysit, right? Let's put it that way.
It will be a benefit for the United States. It will also might give a few years of reprieve while the Sunni terrorist elements try to get their shit together to start to being a threat if not been addressed in the time of the reprieve, because just because the IRGC regime, the Ayatollah regime will fall, does not necessarily mean that everybody should rest on their laurels. They also need to make sure that a Sunni terror axis will not be formed in the meantime. But yeah, it will
Well,
be a gain.
Well, in my prediction, the baby countries. I like to call them the baby countries. Like Syria's not that strong. Lebanon's not that strong. They're only strong until Iran babysat and gave them the funds. Without it, it has nothing. The only category you can say, which I doubt it's not going to do in front of the U.S. Watch, that would be Saudi Arabia. It wouldn't dare to ditch the U.S. and do this mess.
See, there is a problem. Venezuela is not a terrorist country. They peddle drugs.
I'm
It is not the
excuse me.
same.
Can you repeat what you just said?
Venezuela or see, Venezuela, people of Venezuela is nothing. Okay, the specific person, Nicolas Maduro. He is not a terrorist. He's a ruthless dictator. Ayatollah Khamenei is a terrorist.
But
And
Maduro cooperated with Iran. He invited
yes,
Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iranian operatives into
I
Iran.
knew it was
He
going to collapse.
invited
yeah, yeah, that is
Russian
geopolitics.
intelligence forces into Venezuela. He invited Chinese corporations into
Mhm.
Venezuela. All of these actors are
Why
actors
are you
that are working
shouting?
with terrorists.
Why are you shouting? Okay,
I knew he was
I'm
going to
not
react
denying
like
that. See,
Because
when I say you are bad and I'm good, and you are inferior to me, then you will say no, I am inferior to you and you are bad. That is how geopolitics works. Russia says it is the best, and US says it is the best. It is not one is good and the other one is bad. It is just
as
geopolitics.
someone who lives in a country that for us it's not a question of who is good and who is bad, it's more of a question of who wants to kill us, then it's kind of a cut and dry question for us, for
See,
Israeli.
Venezuelan president did not get involved in terrorism.
He
He just
supported October 7th. What
I
are
knew
you
he was
talking
going to
about?
say
He
that.
literally wrapped himself in the kafia. He cried when Nasrallah was sent to hell. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, see, okay. The same comment has been used by Russia and China, right? And I'm not a supporter of any of these guys. Okay, that's geopolitics. They have to make certain comments. That is how politics works. It is not that they are directly involved or they are supporting anyone.
Yeah,
No.
politics is usually saying the evil Zionist pigs did it.
Yeah,
It's
they
the
they
Jews. It's the fucking
because
Jews
they
who
hate it.
did it. That was the vice president of Venezuela said that the Zionists had a part in kidnapping poor innocent Maduro.
He's not wrong, buddy. There's literally a picture of him in the kafia. So if you're
Yes,
saying he's
yes. Obviously, I am not denying that. Yeah, I'm not denying that.
no, like
Uh,
all these organizations, they are one, and the fact is that that's what I want to ask. Like, even though U.S. did get rid of him, it kidnapped him, what result is it going to bring? And I'm curious. It gave
okay.
Iran its
Now,
final
now you know
warning.
what might happen.
What else?
The people who might play a victim card, and then they say, "You have no moral rights over me. You have done this, so I'm going to do this." Now, China might attack Taiwan and capture Taiwanese president or prime minister. Russia
That
can
we
capture.
can say, that we can
Kind of
say in like maybe
unlikely.
2, 3 years.
Russia can capture Zelensky.
They already
India might
failed.
take care. India might take care of us, Asif Munir and Mohammad Yunus, and India can say, "You have done it. Why are you blaming me for that? You have no moral rights over me."
But you're forgetting that it wasn't just everybody saying if America did it, we can do it. Not every country has the capabilities of the United States, and I think that is a factor that needs to be remembered. Russia failed to do that with Ukraine.
Well,
China is
that
not going
also
to be
comes from
suicidal to try
buddy,
to
buddy.
do
Just wait,
something
wait,
like
wait. It's really fine. Wait, that also comes from military cooperation. You must understand that Zelensky was supported by the United States, right?
Not just United States, the entire NATO.
Yes, right, right. That also has an impact. Without it, how do you think he would have made it? That also counts.
And Russia is just alone. They are not even using Indian weapons. Even India is not providing them weapons.
Yeah, if you look at the military charter, right? I see the military charter is like the best thing to look at right now, right? India's numbers, it's not too far from China's military. but above China, it is Russia and the United States, of course, number one. So without their military intelligence and importance in places like this, which is why Russia's so mad, like, okay, we can do it too if you don't butt into our business, just like how you said for Pakistan, we can take out Asif Munir if you don't butt into our business. It is,
Holly, it's
yeah.
not just a question of numbers. It's also a question of quality and quantity. Now, Russia and China have quantity, but I don't think they have quality. America, I believe, have both. India, I believe they have both also. I'm not sure. I believe they have both. I don't think that India is.
Uh,
The Indian military is filled with pussies like in China.
See, China has quantity but fails at quality. India has quality and quantity, but not up to the mark that it can rival Russia. But however, looking at the depletion of the stockpile, like US has spent a lot of stockpile, and NATO has depleted its stockpile because they have lost a lot of weapons in the war, and same with Russia. Now, the only two big stockpiles left in the world is India and China. China lacks quantity, but India does not. India has both.
And
So,
who is
looking
India
at
going to attack
sorry,
exactly?
uh, Asif Munir if he doesn't keep stuff to himself. I mean, like I said, Pakistan's economy is falling apart. I'm not saying it's perfect at all. They need to make up a choice. Either they support democracy or continue. And of course, the military cannot go, I would say, 2 years without contemplating another war. And I bet everyone agrees with me to that. The more war they do, then obviously the neighbors are going to attack back. And we all
no, they
know.
have not won. Pakistan has not won a single war so far, but they have
No,
spent their
no,
entire
one.
GDP
I
to
didn't
cross
say
the
them.
border.
I'm saying them doing a war. They can't go 2, 3 years without condemning another war. I didn't say when.
Yeah,
But
and related to Pakistan, see what happened in just 23 minutes per day in 3 days. India bombed the shit out of Pakistan, and Pakistan could not land a single drone on Indian soil. And yes, India do have the capability to take care of the leadership, but it did not. It just wants to portray the power to the terrorists that if you bother us, we will take care of you.
that's anybody. It's
Simple as that.
literally
Uh,
anybody.
Nothing other
what
than that.
weapon? Where do the Indian military get its weapons from? Who is their supplier? Who are they buying it from?
Right now, India is developing its own weapons.
And you don't buy anything from other sources as well to augment your forces as
We
well.
buy technology. It's not the products. We bought a lot of technology from Russia, Israel, France, etc. Purchased some products like jets from France, but right now there is a technology transfer from all these countries as well. And
So
US is not such a reliant source because they can sanction these weapons anytime. So India is not buying from US as of now. It is very small quantity of weapons from US, but large quantity is from Russia, Israel, and France. And DRDO is developing its own weapons. It's not like dependent on someone else.
So like the
So
weapons is from them and the technology because that's what it educated a lot of the Arab nations and the Muslim countries that you must understand when it comes to technology, knowing that India itself is higher than Israel, but when it comes to technology, Israel number one in technology. Nobody, we haven't found a nation that could compete with Israel's technology so far yet.
The following wars have proven the ineffectiveness of Russian technology and the superiority of American technology is also American technology augmented with Israeli tech as well. The following wars are going to be won with technology. It's not just a matter of numbers, it's a matter of quality and technology.
see,
Yes,
to
people,
be
and I
precise, Russia and China are not actually against Israel. They are against Israel because Israel is a supporter of US. They want to send a message that if
Yes.
you support US, then we will get involved in your country.
I can
Uh,
assure you that
Sorry, go ahead.
it's quite the reverse. They do not hate us because we are supporting the United States. We are
It's
supporting the United
it's the
States
yeah,
because they
yeah, yeah. I understand. I understand. Yeah, Israel is sorry. US is supporting Israel, and Israel is supporting. It's a mutual understanding. It's not one country supporting the other.
Buddy,
No,
buddy,
it's a
Israeli,
mutual.
my Israeli buddy. This is where you can. I say this to all my Israeli friends when it comes to Akira. This is where you can a little bit, just a tiny bit, not all the way, just a little bit. Say this is where the Judeo-Christian value comes in because America is Christian. You're a Jewish nation, and America has been with Israel for a very long time. This is where you can say this sentence, and it's not easy for those countries because they don't follow this narrative. Yeah, they're going to react like that. If you have the US, we don't support you.
Yeah, it's just to say that if you support the West, we will take care of you, and we can do a proxy war, and we can support terrorists and create instability, insurgency within your country, etc., etc.
Yes, because you
It's
must
against
understand.
geopolitics.
Just read about BRICS, okay? I say this to every intelligent person. BRICS itself is competing with the US dollar. It has nothing to do with the dollar.
most of the countries in BRICS are in almost open war amongst themselves. What kind of economic cooperation is that? While all of the countries in BRICS hate each other as much as they hate the United States.
Yep, I don't disagree on that. Yeah, obviously, yeah, there is insurgency in India, there is problem with Russia and Ukraine, but all these countries are net exporters other than India. India is a net importer, but the trade deficit is very small, that is $20 billion. Right now around 30 to 40, but India can still hold itself against massive foreign reserves because India has more than $800 billion. $40 billion is nothing for India.
So like here's
And
the question. Like let's make this a little bit spicy, this podcast with you two. I'm still waiting for the forecast if he's gonna come, not come. Well, let's see. He's still busy feeding his horses. So do you think Russia's going to gain anything by attacking Ukraine again? Do you think it's going to do it? Yes or no? Who thinks
They're in the middle of a war right now, so I don't think that attacking they can attack anything again for more than the fact that they're already in the midst of a war.
yeah, Ukraine is toast. Ukraine is a parking lot. What do you expect from Ukraine?
The same can
And
be asked
Russia
for
is
Russia.
a
What do you
Christianic
expect
town.
from
Sorry, go
Russia?
ahead.
Remember, Ukraine has US support. That's how
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
winning. Without the
Even
US
with the US
support,
support, Ukraine is almost a parking lot.
The same can be said of Russia as well. Their economy is a dead flat.
no, but I keep telling
Russia
you,
is a net exporter, man.
Ukraine
Exporter
has
of what? Their refineries have been destroyed. They're exporting at a loss right now. Their economy is
No,
collapsing.
no, no, no. See,
no.
just
Don't
Google what is
underestimate them.
the.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what he's saying. That's what Kiran's saying too. Do not underestimate them. Let me put it this way: do you think India is going to do business with the cowardly nations who don't know understand business? That's one thing I say about India. That's a big fat no. India's never going to do that. India is all about business, spade to spade. If it doesn't have anything useful, India's not going to be there. That's what that's how I'm going to put it. However, you must understand that Ukraine always had the US support. You minus the US support, it's done for. That's what people are saying, that that's why these organizations are anti-West, because West are supporting certain countries that they want.
See, BRICS is currently at around 20 to 25% of the world trade and has the capability to reach 40 to 50 percent of the world trade. What happens if it hits 50% of the world trade?
And there is
The dollar
almost
is
nothing
toast, right?
unifying amongst most of the BRIC nations except for hatred, and that's pretty much it. Because most of the countries hate each other almost as much as they hate
But they're
the.
about competing. they're about competing. And I'll put it this way: I studied about BRICS a little bit in early before October 7th. I seen a portrait and I didn't understand what that portrait was about. And I seen all the leaders that I know today, and India was a part of it. You think for a minute, what are they going to gain? The truth is, they may hate each other, but when it comes to competing with the dollar, they're all about competing with the dollar.
Yeah, but how can
Well,
you make a economic system without mutual gain and support? Like if because the core principle of economics is also cooperation, and I don't see any of those countries willing to cooperate with each other. But by the way, it's also a good question for my Indian friend here. Who exactly are your supposed quote unquote friends here? Countries that are either are easily could become to come to the brink of collapse, or countries who would stab you in the face, not in the back, in the face, the
sorry,
moment
sorry,
that
sorry. Could you please repeat?
I'm asking who are the countries that uh, India trust, because
Okay, India is trying to build its own bloc. As simple as that.
yes, with the most unreliable countries that ever existed.
Can you trust US? US
I
has been double crossed from last 50 years to
let me
India.
put it this way: I do not trust any country 100%, not even the United States, but at least it's a known quantity and you can work with. The countries that India works with, never.
I
Like,
wouldn't say I wouldn't say they're bad countries. You just have to read about them. Even though
let me
Russia is,
rephrase it. Not the countries themselves are not bad, but the governments are not good.
well, that
Okay,
goes back.
wait.
Go ahead.
Do you think US government is good? Either be it Democrats or Republicans?
At this point, the Democrats are completely insane.
Okay, I'll respond to this question in a
Mhm.
specific way why US is the winner here, and I'll explain why. It'll make completely sense. Starting from the times of the Ottomans, where the government did stupid things in religious wars and beyond that didn't really build the economy itself, you could say they did it way after, like becomes a little bit secular. Now that's what makes the West a little bit different, which people do not like to read or understand. This is why the West kept state and church separate so it doesn't have to deal with religious conflict in the West countries. And there's more higher economy with the government and trustworthy compared to the opposite side who always had a religious government and had problems no matter whose religion they just did. Even though Russia is older and it used to be a religious monarchy in Christianity, same for Venezuela. That's what makes the West countries a little bit different. They always keep church separate from state and keep it a secular country where people can not have issues with each other due to these issues of religion or faith or anything. That's why there were less wars in the country in religion compared to these sides. That's what makes this place safe. However, that does not mean US didn't get into its own wars with different matters.
Okay, may I? See,
Huh.
whether left or the right, like Dems or Ribs, they supported Pakistan. Trump supported Pakistan little lesser than Biden. That doesn't mean that he did not support Pakistan because they are creating an insurgency just next door to India and expect India to wholeheartedly support US. No, it's not going to work that way, right? And that is what in US want. They want India to open up the farmers market, which is not going to happen. It did not happen 50 years ago. It did not. It will not happen now, and it will never happen in the future. And see, US supported Mujahideen. Mujahideen later turned to be Al Qaeda, and they wanted to control Russia. Russia, and they backfired. And India did not support Mujahideen back then. Neither it supports Al Qaeda
Nobody
or
here
Taliban
said
right now. Go ahead.
that the United States hadn't done a lot of mistakes. Nobody here is saying that. What is being said here, that in spite of the many, and let's be honest, many downsides of working with the United States, working with Russia and China and Iran right now is even worse. That is what I'm trying to say here.
But you
The
see,
governments of
you
those
see,
countries are literally trying to destabilize the world and create as much chaos as they can to advance themselves at the expense of thousands of lives.
you can say that. However, this is where I'm gonna say something, and I want honest opinion from both of you, from an Indian perspective and an Israeli perspective, because Muslim world, bro, it's divided. Okay, so one thing you must understand, that you know this, India knows this for sure. I know it does. That 90% of the Muslim military, it runs under the United States control. Like NATO and Pakistan military, maybe the citizens want to be free even if the Indian jumps in tomorrow. But the Pakistan military goes under the US command. That's another problem why Imran Khan can't be free, because the military works for the United States. Whatever the United States wants, that military is going to do. Simple answer. Yes or no, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, they're just going to do it.
What's the
Dead
Same,
right.
question?
right? Right, India,
Wait,
right?
I didn't understand the question. You talked a bit too fast.
Okay, so let me finish, then you can cut
Slow
in. And he,
down. Slow down. So, speak a little slower, please.
so like, I'm saying that these militaries work with technically what America wants, like NATO and Pakistan military. Arab countries don't really have like a big military, but they're still allied to what the United States wants. And that's why some people say that United States is linked to all terrorism and all these organizations. So until these organizations are here and United States decides what it wants to do, you can't really say anything. I'll put it at that. Right or wrong, Kiran? You know this too.
100% right. And
What?
that is where the difference with US is. India does a lot of business with US, but still, US supports uh, like Pakistan to control India and pressurize India to open up many of the markets which India has huge tariffs on, like more than 200% tariff or total ban on certain US products because of religious issue or due to health related issues because they use palm oil or feeding animals with meat and producing the milk out of it. That is not what is expected by Indian consumers, and India cannot support that.
So,
Uh,
what is your
I
opinion as an Israeli hearing that out? But it's the sad truth, buddy. But yeah.
uh, to be honest, you two talked over each other, so I didn't quite exactly understood the original question. So if you could please slowly repeat the question, and I will give you my response.
Okay, Kiran, tell him
Let,
the
let me
question.
let me repeat the question. Israel, U.S. controls Pakistan army. Okay, Pakistan army is a puppet of U.S. and Imran Khan cannot be freed. Imran Khan wants an independent policy, foreign policy, and U.S. does not like that. US wants to control Pakistan and
Well,
keep them under
I
their puppet. Okay,
I completely disagree. And by the way, if you're saying that the United States
no, not
controls,
me. She said that. She
all
said
right,
that.
I'm
Kiran,
with you. If
you think they
somebody's
will?
saying that the United States is controlling the Pakistani military,
No,
somebody should.
no, not control, but they follow the U.S. command. Whatever U.S.
Again,
instructions they follow.
any this kind of level of cooperation between the two is very minimal, in my opinion. By the way, you should probably tell that to the Palestinians who were massacred by the Pakistani military on the Black September in Jordan.
I'm aware
So
because
I
they've
find
been
it very
reporting.
funny that if somebody's trying to allude to the fact that they were massacred under the desire of the United as the United States. But
No,
again,
like, for example, I'll give you an example, the best one of all. Like, this is the stuff you need to read about. You just, if you're not going to read, you're not going to understand this puzzle here. For example, and I know Kiran's going to agree with me because right now, currently, he's in good terms with that nation. United States is the one who wanted that military to attack Kabul in Afghanistan. There's no other nation who instructed to go to Kabul. Yes or no, Kiran?
Definitely, yes.
I abstained from answering because I admit that I do not know enough about this.
Yes, it's all about the reading. Imran Khan can't be free until United States makes an accurate choice for the military.
The military, as far as I know, the top commanders of Pakistani army work for or controlled by American deep state or the CIA or whoever it is, like president or etc. etc. So they are providing weapons to Pakistan and try to create insurgency around India. It's not just Pakistan. They have done the same thing with the Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, etc. etc. They are surrounding India from all sides.
Do
So
you really think that? Do
that's
you
one of
really
the
think
reasons
that?
why India decided to go independent. That's mainly, even though India can work with the countries, but due to all the
There
stuff
isn't.
that's
I
happened.
haven't heard anywhere that there is a containment policy of the United States to contain India.
Want to
This is
answer?
news to me.
See, it's not containing India, it's controlling India, and they have done that before. And they can see, there's a political party which is a puppet of the West, that is called Congress. They are strong supporters of the West Masters, but Modi wants to have an independent foreign policy because the India he does not want India to be controlled, so he is creating a campaign called Make in India. All the products which are used in India should be made in India, so
That
that
I agree with.
India cannot be controlled like what happened in 1971. Just to stop the war or just to control India, they have stopped wheat and other goods, right? And starved India to almost submission. And weapons, they have sanctioned weapons on Indian missiles and helicopters, attack helicopters, etc. And we have seen this in 1998, where only Israel provided us the technology, drone, and other services. US denied GPS guidance system, GPS guidance missiling targeting system. India did not have that in 1998 when Pakistan attacked,
I
right?
wish that there could be that India and Israel could have mutual alliance with the United States, because I believe, and I hope that you agree with me, that India and Israel have come a long way in nurturing a friendship.
See, Trump wants India to buy what's that, F-35, right?
And fortunately, as
Hmm?
an Israeli, when I seen Moody shaking hand uh, with the president of Iran and Erdogan.
President of Iran?
No, what? Are you
No,
okay?
no,
You
no,
Who was it then? Khomeini? Or who was at that meeting?
no.
Of what?
Okay, Jai Shankar, he is a foreign affairs minister.
Oh,
yeah.
Whenever
again. All right. All
foreign
right.
policy,
All right. I got confused then by the man in question, but the point still stands that for Israelis to see India so in bed with countries like Turkey and Iran is a bit disheartening. especially considering
Turkey
everything
is
that
an
happened
enemy
for
country of Iraq, is India. Why will India support Turkey? Because Turkey provided weapons just last year. Sorry, this year. I mean last year. Yeah, to attack India, right? They provided drones and other missile services, and even Iran provided
And
missiles to Pakistan to attack Modi's residence. The missile was targeted at Modi's residence. It was shot down by a Russian air defense system. Now tell me why we should not support Russia instead of.
you know, want to know something interesting? I know Kiran's going to agree with me. Russia is in full favor of India than it is to
Yeah,
Pakistan.
Russia
US
wants to snatch India from US, and US wants to snatch India from Russia. It's
that's
kind of
bad. So that's why
tug of war.
By
India,
the
India,
way, it just occurs to me that probably there is right now there's going to be probably a lot of people who all this time that the three of us have been talking were probably shouting "Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!" Can you check this if I'm correct?
um, okay, give me a
Where
second.
is free Palestine? Because we have a lot of traitors in India. Indians shout free Palestine.
In okay, look, the reason why India is not linked to any of this, I'll explain. It'll make sense because India wants to make its way up without being the war victim card. That's one of the
No,
reasons
that's
why.
not, that is not what I said. I said that the viewers right
No,
now are viewing
yeah,
us.
I'm giving them the YouTube channel. They want my YouTube channel. I'm giving that, but I'm explaining you India's position. India has supported almost every single country on the planet. There's
I know
nobody.
that India's position you can correct me if I'm wrong, is India first, which I can respect. India should really take interest in only the problems of India. As I suspect, every country should also be in decision of how to take care of its own problems. I don't want I don't want India to be a subservient country to anyone, as I don't want Israel to be subservient to anyone, and so on.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point.
However, and unfortunately, there is a however. The however is that uh, if Israel was all of a sudden somehow through an insane probability would support all of a sudden will start embracing Pakistan, you would probably be
Yeah,
absolutely.
India would be an enemy of Israel.
So why isn't it
Sorry, other way around.
first
Israel
for
would be an enemy of
Israel when
India.
you're saying you're embracing our enemies?
Now there is a beef between India and Saudi Arabia. I hope you know that, right?
A
I've
ref?
been seeing that a lot. Do you want to share to the guests what beef is that?
Because Pakistan has signed a defense pact with Saudi Arabia, and when India attacks the terrorist camps in Pakistan, Saudi Arabia will come to the rescue of Pakistan.
I haven't seen them do anything yet, but okay. But
Yeah,
like,
not yet.
I wonder with what army exactly is they going to do that.
they
No,
don't have.
they'll provide money. UAE, sorry, Saudi has nothing but money. Pakistan does not have money. They only have soldiers. It is a win-win situation for both of them.
Pretty
But
much
yeah, pretty much. Pakistan can survive, and Saudi can get its security detail.
because it has the money. See, it's all about the economy, which is what I'm saying. Like as of now, people are predicting that US will attack Cuba, it will attack Mexico, and Russia, I don't know if it's going to stop for anyone based on this little tipsy turning thing from Venezuela. But do you what is America going to gain by attacking Cuba? I think anybody, because it's predicted they're going to attack
Uh,
Cuba and Mexico.
see, dictator or communism, they can do whatever the hell they want in their own country. It is none of any other country's problem. US is just getting involved just to gain traction. And see, US attacked Nigeria. Why did it not attack Bangladesh?
Good point. That's a red flag question. But I am going to cut into that because from a religious entity point of perspective, many, including Israelis themselves, push the U.S. Oh, you need to protect the Christians. You need to protect the
Yeah,
Christians. But
exactly.
there we go. He's going to
What
say
about
that.
Bangladeshi Hindus?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say
And
that.
there is no terrorist organization in Bangladesh which are targeting Hindus. It is the civilians who Bangladeshi civilian Muslims targeting Bangladeshi civilian Hindus.
I was just going to say that. That's right. So what's the point? And, you can put religion into the sentence if you want to. He has a point. What about the Bangladeshi Hindus? Nothing for them, but for the Nigerian Christians and all the Boko Haram damages, U.S. listened to that because Israelis wanted to protect the Christians, but nothing for the Bangladeshi Hindus. He has a spade question. I'm not going to say he's wrong. He has a really red flag spade question. Like, why not them? Why just them? He has
Yeah,
a
that
point.
is why India is planning to do something in Bangladesh. It is not just military action. We are just snatching all their business and making their country worthless. Because India has a huge textile, Bangladesh has a huge textile. We are snatching their orders, cutting off their cotton supply, etc., etc.
And
It's
this
not a
time,
point.
from my perspective, that if India attacks Bangladesh, US cannot cut in because it didn't protect the Hindus when they needed it. It protected the Nigerian Christians really good, but it didn't protect the Bangladeshi Hindus. So when India does this attack, you can answer for me what I'm saying after I finish. This time, India is not going to listen. Correct, Karen? It is not going
Yeah,
to listen.
because India can create a perfect blockade for Bangladesh from cutting off any military action from any damn country. Because Indian navy is bloody strong.
And he does have a red flag question. He's not wrong this time. He has a really tight question, which nobody can say he's wrong because many American Christians, many Israeli Christians, including Israelis themselves, many supported the Nigerian people to be protected from the Boko Haram. But he has a point. Nobody said anything for the Bangladeshi Hindus for US to get down there. So India's to its fullest level as of this time. It has nothing to lose. It's just not going to listen to anybody this time.
Again, all I've been trying to say is that I've been trying to say. Fuck, I'm trying to. I lost my train of thought. I'm trying to say that the United States is not perfect. The only thing because I'm not protecting the United States, all I'm saying is that that India is making a mistake throwing its lot with the world axis of evil, because for the United States it's a matter of geopolitic competition of superpowers. For Israel, it's a matter of survival.
Get anyone answer to that question?
Yeah, then sign a defense pact with India.
Okay,
If
I'm going to see if I can answer this guy, Sage's question. Okay. I'm your friend, but you didn't respect what I had to say and what choices I made. Instead, you gave me sanctions. You used me the wrong way. So at certain times, I'm going to say, okay, I'm okay with what I got. I just can't help you this time. And that's basically what India is doing.
See,
To be
India is trying to create its own bloc, right? India does not want to listen to either US or Russia. India was non-aligned
I will give you
from
the
the time of
blunt
Cold War. Sorry,
version
go
of
ahead.
the Israeli position on all of this.
Okay,
India,
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. See, India, when India was in despair, Israel helped in even in 1971 and 1998, 2025, etc., etc., like multiple times. Israel has provided drones and uh, and technology like radar, long range radars, and same has been provided by Russia. And right now, US wants to sell its a very expensive jet to India, but Russia is saying we will provide you unrestricted technology transfer and access to our jets, fifth generation jets. Don't purchase from US. And US does not want to provide the unrestricted access. Which country would you buy from?
Whoa, guys, I'm gonna share something here. Give me just a minute. And this is something interesting I'm gonna share into the group. Give me just a second. I think people should watch in my guess, knowing speaking of America, as we mentioned in this stream, that it is going to get hot. And it is getting hot, no doubt about it. It's getting super hot. So let me bring this into the link into the group, and
Yeah, yeah.
people
What
can see
happened
it.
exactly?
I'm bringing it in. Give me a moment. I'm bringing the link. And what is happening here is something people should really look into right here.
Uh huh.
Copy, copy, message link. Or we can share the screen and I can
It's
show it
better
to
to
you here.
share it. You should share it if you have something.
Okay, I'll share the screen. Okay, here we go. Let me open it up. Share screen. Is it going to let me? Okay. Give me just a second. YouTube. Okay. Share. And I'm going to open it. Can you see everything?
I don't see anything.
Do you see,
Not yet.
do you see
You
my
need
screen?
no.
Not
You
yet.
need to share it. There is a
Okay.
button of share screen. Oh, by the way, looks like the American has finally arrived, and
You still don't see it? Do you still not see me sharing screen? It's up on
yeah,
the.
but it's on the bottom, and it's you need to share it that it will
Okay,
be
here we go. Add
there.
scene. Now can you see it? Okay, I'm gonna minimize the window and tell me what you see. And I'm gonna click this. Okay, watch this. I think this is
Calling.
interesting.
By the way, check who is trying to enter.
I think that would be our fourth guest for the podcast, Mike.
Excellent.
Hi. Hi.
And
So we had a very interesting debate. And okay, so you are our last guest for the podcast. Would you like to tell our guests exactly how some people fear US is not going to make it? You want to tell us how US is going to make it? You are our last guest of the show. Like,
unfortunately, by the way, I have to leave. It was a very insightful debate. I'll allow you to continue this without me.
okay, go ahead. You can move on
All
your
right, I
stage.
will. Sure.
Okay. Okay, so before I share this, I'm gonna leave this on pause and I'm gonna do the debate first, then we can watch this thing. So, like, Mike, so why do you feel that US is gonna be successful? It's not gonna lose anything, and yes, the oil gain is a win. So, how do you feel, even though some nations don't feel this way?
Coming from except from left wing radicalism that doesn't seem to understand our economy and how it works. Um, when we took over Venezuela, there was a lot of reasons behind this, and the number one reason is it really is no different than how we handled Manuel Noriega. It's very similar. We have a narco terrorist who is taking advantage of our country in many ways and hurting us in many ways, and he was convicted in a court of law in the United States. That happened in 2020, I believe. Don't quote me on the exact date, but I believe it's somewhere around there. And Previous, it's kind of normal that previous presidents talk a big game, but they don't do anything, and they let criminals like that slide, and just let it continuously hurt our country. He's not just hurt our country by flooding um, drugs, massive amounts of drugs into our country, but he also took advantage of Biden. And when Biden opened our borders and did not enforce our immigration laws, he he emptied his prisons and sent a whole bunch of criminals and gangs into our country. Take a look at Tren de Aragua. That's one example, but there's many, many, many examples of that. There's tons of proof. There's evidence over the past 4 or 5 years. There's that is just not even disputable. Um, the fact that it's going to hurt our country financially is the reason why I laugh so much about it. Is number one, it took us a few hours in the middle of the night to take over the country. They had junky Russian equipment. Russian equipment for the military is a joke. You need to just ask Israel that, because Israel has no problem dismantling it with our weapons and their weapons, and know exactly how to handle this junky Russian equipment, because they act like they're like the top of the food chain when it comes to the military equipment, which is a joke. They're still not too far out of the Cold War with their equipment. But anyways, I'm trying to talk a little quickly because I don't want to go too long. But with that, um, number one, we took over the country in a couple hours rather than having it some long, drawn out, very expensive war, which it wasn't. And it wasn't really a war. We really took off the air defenses. There really was only defenses when we defenses that we had to deal with were when we captured Maduro, which was to be expected anyways. He was in a fortified location, and we had to take out his paid opposition to the paid defenders of him to to capture him, which was already to be expected. So it was a very easy and quick operation. It obviously it costs a lot of money, but it the overall scheme of things is number one. We took over the country very quickly, which was very cheap. We had a very high bounty on us, at like $20 million, something like that. Well, we can collect our own bounty now for that. Second, that country heard it when Maduro seized the country rather than being elected. He captured and took over the American assets that were in Venezuela. Meaning, we have a lot of American oil companies that have invested billions of dollars in Venezuela and upgrading the oil capacity there, and being able to get it out of there. And what happened was Maduro nationalized the oil and seized it from us, including all of our oil that we had stored there. So we're basically seizing our own oil back
Hector,
now.
Hector, I want to share something. Maybe you can translate what Marco Rubio means. It's going to help because this is recent, and it literally says that Marco Rubio declares the Western Hemisphere is ours. Russia, China, and Iran must get out. I want to show you, and maybe you can explain to our guests what
Well,
they.
hang on, you're changing the subject while I was finishing explaining how we're not going to
No,
lose
you
money
can
on
go
this
ahead. I'll
call.
just bring up the screen. You can go ahead. You can
All
continue
right.
with
Well,
your
don't,
screen.
let's talk about that next. But number one, we're getting our oil refineries and whatnot, the oil equipment there for drilling that our companies paid for and invested there back. We're also seizing back the oil that Venezuela stole from us. So that all the oil companies sued Venezuela for, I don't know, $100 billion if you add it all together, maybe a little less, maybe some less than that. I didn't add. I have to add it all up. But they won in the court of law in the United States, suing Venezuela to the fact that they seized our assets there. So we're getting all that back, and not only that, Venezuela is a very, very, very prosperous country when it wasn't when it could be running at full capacity. Maduro's basically ran it into the ground, and basically they were producing almost no oil because they did not continue in maintaining the oil facilities there. So what the plan is to allow our companies back in there to bring the oil capacity back up to its maximum, where it should be, and we are going to be paying ourselves back. We are not going to do this for free. We are going to be paying ourselves back, and a lot of that's going to be paid with most of it is going to be paid with the oil money, and also it's going to be their oil money is going to be used to now invigorate Venezuela, where the money should be going, rather than to fund Maduro's narco trafficking organization. So in the end, it is not going to hurt us at all, and that's why I laughed when you said, "Oh, it's going to kill." I heard all this left wing banter all off the world that it's going to hurt things. Yeah, only if you're a communist who want to support communist dictatorship regimes all over the world. Yeah, you're going to be upset, like those people protesting in New York that we were laughing about, who were handing out communist magazines. They're upset,
Mhm.
but go look at what the Venezuelans, who are all mostly located in Florida, are doing. There was a parade yesterday, a mile long, for like 8 hours, going nonstop partying and parading. And they were also they were more scared to do that in Venezuela, obviously, because they don't the Maduro regime is not completely been eliminated there, but they're all just as happy, and they had like never ending flow of people from Venezuela on TV last night. It was great. The whole thing was excellent.
You
And
have a point.
what's going to be great is this gives notice to other dictatorships in our region who are hurting our country, that nobody has done anything about all this time. They've let these drugs flow, and we just keep playing this cat and mouse game at the border, where we're capturing all the drugs as much as we can, and then some slips by, and that's how we have the such a drug infestation in our country. Not only they smuggle drugs, but they smuggle money, they smuggle weapons, they smuggle anything they possibly can in and out of our country in order to fuel the narco trafficking fortunes that because we're the biggest market for everything. I mean, that's why. So that's kind of what I was trying to say. I wanted to get that all off my chest so you understand where I'm coming from. Otherwise, it wouldn't make much sense. So does that?
No, I do. That's why I wanted you to share it, because we have people like away from the country, and then we have people in the country who understand the situation, and we've all put it together. Yeah, so like this is what I wanted to show you. Here's Marco Rubio's speech regarding Russia and China. I want to share that on my screen, and maybe you can translate what he means. Let me share the screen, because
Sure,
he's pretty.
I watched this live. I know what you're doing, what you're playing. I mean,
Yes, he sounds like he's pretty serious. Share. Okay, there it is. You mind telling us? There we go. I'm going to play it, and then you can tell us.
We can hear only the audio, not the video.
Can you see it? It's the window.
No.
Okay, hang on. Let me put it up there. There.
well,
Petrodollar's
now you
rivals
guys
of the
are
United
talking over
States
it.
Have
I missed
specific
half of
that.
it.
oil
We also
companies.
want to see that oil and the proceeds from it. Hold on. We want to see the oil proceeds of that country benefit the people of Venezuela. Why have 8 million people left Venezuela? 8 million, the single largest mass migration probably in modern history, left Venezuela since 2014 because all the wealth of that country was stolen to the benefit of Maduro and his cronies in the regime, but not to the benefit of people of Venezuela. You know how destabilizing 8 million migrants is the number one fear that Brazil has, that Colombia has, that all these countries in the region have about what's happening in Venezuela and our involvement is they're afraid of another mass migration event. That's what they fear. This is deeply destabilizing stuff. It's not going to continue to happen. They are not going to come from outside of our hemisphere, destabilize our region in our own backyard, and us have to pay the price for it. Not under President Trump.
Let's talk big picture.
I didn't even mention immigration. That's a totally another subject that I could have brought up too. That is part of the narco trafficking and what these countries are doing
And
did while this whole thing occurred.
Yes.
may
So
I?
like what? So he sounds like he's pretty serious what he's about to do.
Well, what he was doing is he was putting everybody on notice. During that interview, by the way, Meet the Press is probably the worst show in America. That lady, they use her as example of. I mean, she's the most nastiest interviewer, but nobody's going to throw Marco Rubio off. The guy is amazing. Um, what basically Marco Rubio was talking about there, and I didn't only was able to hear about half of the conversation, so I might have missed some of that interview. I did not see that one. I missed that once, but I know what he was talking about. So the thing is that we really don't need their oil. That's why I say, like, we don't need, Venezuela is really insignificant. We don't need their oil. We have a massive oil reserves here. We have so much oil that we could export
Right.
forever. And
Exactly.
the thing is that we invested there, and we should not allow them to take advantage of us. And not just that, there's a reason why they were selling that insignificant amount of oil to Iran and China, is because they were skirting sanctions. Get stuff for nothing, and so does India. By the way, India is notorious for loving to get to buy stuff at sanctioned prices, and not caring where the money's coming from, just to get a cheap dollar, which is pretty having no morals in what you're
Don't
doing.
forget about asking where the money goes, not just
Right,
where it
true,
comes from.
true. Where the money goes is the same thing. Where where the money's coming from and where the money is going.
Can I
And
tell you what
I
the
feel
dollar,
India has a lot of
American dollar
problems.
goes to
They have no
Pakistan?
morals
Pakistan uses
in
it
what
for
they're
terrorism.
about.
Is that notorious?
Go ahead, I couldn't hear you.
Pakistan gets money from US. US sells its oil and then funds Pakistan. Pakistan uses it for terrorism. Is that notorious?
Well, let's try to figure out, why are you buying your oil from Russia? Out of all
Yeah,
the
to
places in the
take care of
world,
our country.
out of all the places in the world, you
Okay,
know
fine.
that.
You sell it.
Hold on. You got to let me finish talking.
Easy,
Hang
easy.
on a
Let
minute.
him finish.
Let me
Then
finish
your
talking,
debate can answer. Let
and
him
then you
finish.
can reply. Um, Out of all the places in the world to get oil, now I understand this was happening before the war, but like, everybody has cut off Russia's oil because they're using the money to fund their war in Ukraine. Everybody knows this. And we even gave you a huge opportunity to trade and have a very good deal with the United States. But the problem is Modi has always had this problem with putting every penny to get the cheapest, regardless of where it's coming from or what the morality of what he's doing is. He's always made the financial decision to say, I am going to go for the cheapest amount, and saying that that's what's the greatest for India, and that's a very bad way of looking at things. And they've done that with
Okay,
bricks, and
is
they're playing around with bricks.
wait,
They've
wait,
done
wait.
that with the oil, and
Let
now
him
they've
finish.
done
Let him
that with
finish.
embargoing our companies here by making such high tariffs that we can't even sell our products over in India. So you have a monopoly on things. If we finally have a president that says, "Listen, we're not going to put up with that crap anymore. Either you're going to play fairly with us, or you're just going to pay a huge price and nobody wins over there, and we don't need your products,
May
really.
I?
We have everywhere else in the world, and
Okay,
we have the biggest
let him
market
finish.
in the world." Go ahead, Karina.
Okay. We don't care whether it comes from Russia, China, or even North Korea. You can provide us the same oil from your country with the same price tag, and we will be more than happy to buy
No,
it
that's
from.
not true. That was
Why not?
proven.
Why
Proven
can't
not
you
true.
sell the same oil from your country?
That is proven not true, because President Trump had Modi in our country, and Modi made this huge speech like he was MAGA, and it was I laughed at the whole speech because I knew Modi pretty well, to know that he talked a lot of talk, just like all these these countries do in a lot of the parts of the world. He talked like he was on our side, and he was going to do this and this and that, and in the end, he turned her back to us, and went and then made an alliance with with the most despotic dictators in our world today.
Are
China,
you calling Modi a
North
dictator?
Korea, and,
Wait, let him finish. Let him finish.
Iran. I mean, you guys deal with the most dirt of the dirt in the world, and you think that we're like that's okay. That's just going to make,
Wait,
it's
wait,
only going to hurt
wait a
you,
minute.
and
Are you calling a
really
Modi
you're
a
not going to
dictator?
be able to
No, he
succeed.
didn't call him a dictator. He's
He's
saying that Moody is working with dictators. He didn't say Moody's a dictator. Don't start with the Indian nationalism bullshit
No, no,
to
no,
no.
come
no,
on.
no, 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 no,
I
no,
never
no.
said
Let
I never
just
said
no.
Moody
I
was a
know you
dictator.
didn't say that. He's trying
Let
Okay,
to get
you can
outrageous over
provide
nothing.
the oil. You can
let him
provide the
finish.
oil
Let
because
let
oil is the
Hector finish.
single
Then
largest.
India's going to retaliate. Let Hector finish. Then India's going to retaliate.
Well,
Okay. So,
retaliate. Um, I I never called Modi a dictator. Just so you know, he's not a
okay.
dictator, and I never
See,
said that.
India
I
is not
said that
concerned about. Sorry.
he
Right.
has this relationship with dictators that he loves to he struck an alliance with. Just like you guys stupid support of BRICS, which makes no
Okay.
sense
Okay.
either.
Okay. Okay. Hang on.
Wait,
Hang on.
wait,
Hang on.
wait, wait. Patient, patient,
You say
patient,
that
patient. One minute.
India buys oil from Russia, and Russia uses the money for the oil. Sorry, war with Ukraine. Okay. What about the America buying oil and fertilizers, uranium from Russia, and does that not support the war?
No, we've actually cut off so much of we've sanctioned so much of Russia's, we see originally, you gotta remember, in America, we have a giant economy. We import stuff when we need from all over the world. And before this war started, we did trade some with Russia. We did, I believe I can't remember when we first started sanctioning their oil, but it was a long time ago. We were one of the
No,
first
it's still
start
going on. The trade is still
oil.
going
But
on.
hang on, Kieran. Let me finish really quick. But no, we putting so much sanctions on Russia. I really can't keep track of how much sanctions we have. The thing is that we we've tried very hard to limit every single thing that we've had. We don't get almost anything from Russia at all. Definitely not oil. There's
Okay.
virtually nothing that we get from Russia anymore, and it's been that way for a very long time.
No, that is incorrect. Russia is still selling its fertilizers, uranium, oil to US because the cost of production of oil in US is pretty high. So it cannot US cannot use its own oil because the cost is high. So it sells its oil and imports cheaper oil. So, and related to your investment in Venezuela, see, this is how it works. Investment comes with a risk. And are you cared about $20 billion worth of investment in Venezuela? Is that a very big money for US to lose? And the money, sorry, the oil which Venezuela has is more than $17 trillion. Now, don't say that yeah, US is not interested in Venezuela's oil. Come on, man. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Well, first off, I don't know why you keep bringing up us losing money in Venezuela. We're not going to lose any money in Venezuela. We've put very little money into this. We've lost a lot of money by Maduro seizing our assets there, and we're going to get it back pretty easily with the oil that's there. There's a massive amount of oil there that can pay for everything and more, and revitalize their own country without it being seized by cartels. So that's an asinine argument to say that we're going to lose money in Venezuela. I don't know where you get that from, but I'm looking it up right now. I'm fact checking you. I didn't prepare for this because I literally was told like a minute before you guys were going to start this that.
Yeah, he told me the last moment. So, but next time I'll
But
tell you ahead of time.
let's see here. I'm trying-
Preferably a day before would be best.
Our
Yes.
You can use
our
ChatGPT.
oil trade
ChatGPT is better
with
one.
Russia between 2023 and 2025 is valued at under $1 million annually. Negligible volume. You can't even. It's such a small amount. It's insignificant. So whatever you're saying there, that's not true. In the past, yes, before we did do trade with Russia before the war, but we've pretty much sanctioned and imposed bans on Russia. The biggest imposed ban was in March of 2022.
Actually, before that,
It
I
was
think
crude oil, petroleum products, and other energy resources in response to their invasion of Ukraine. The direct imports have dropped to nearly zero. So you're incorrect in your statements that we're buying oil from Russia. You guys are. Don't try to reflect what you guys are doing on us. We have sanctioned them, and you have been buying sanctioned oil and not stopped. And that's the source of the problem. And you're not the only one, because we've complained to Europe, who is all rah about Ukraine, but they still give money to Russia for their oil and are so addicted to it that there's still countries there that haven't gone off of it. There's not a lot of them, but there's still some there. But you guys are somehow addicted to it because I know why you're addicted to it. You guys have no morals, and I'm gonna keep saying this over and over again. You have no morals. You don't care where the money for that oil is coming from, as long as you get cheap oil. And you're basically directly funding the war in Ukraine by giving the money for that oil to Russia, skirting our sanctions. Basically
Okay.
skirting our sanctions.
May
And
I?
to be honest with you,
One second.
we should penalize you for that, and we have. You guys are paying a big price in trade with us, and it really, you know, when you guys coddle dictators and totalitarian leaders like North Korea, and that's who you want to keep in your company. That doesn't look favorable on you. That's not really nationalist in Ukraine, and that's not really nationalist in India. That really makes yourself look like weak idiots, in my point of view. It really is, because those are the worst dictators in the world today, and some of them are the most powerful. Like China is one of the most powerful communist dictatorships in the world, and you just can't wait to go coddle up with them and make a big
Don't
alliance
forget
with
Iran.
them.
Okay.
Okay. May
So,
I?
yes, you can retaliate, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna
See,
get.
US is still buying uranium and fertilizers from Russia. Is that not
Just debunk that.
supporting Ukrainian war, Russia-Ukrainian war?
Well,
And
now you
United
changed it from oil to uranium, so I'm going to now look up the
Yeah,
uranium.
I have the ChatGPT here, and it says that as of January 2026, United States still buy both uranium and fertilizers from Russia, and that is not a small amount. That is one of its biggest. And the waiver loophole, the law includes a provision allowing Department of Energy to issue waivers until January 2028.
Hold on
Until
a
the
minute. And
28th, Russia gets supply.
the thing is there's a reason for this, in that there is a very small amount of places in the world that we can buy uranium from if we are short. You got to understand that if there's you got to remember, the biggest uranium supplier in the world. Guess where that is? Other than United States producing uranium, where do you think the largest uranium? Let's see who is the. Let me look. That's a good look up here. Who is the largest uranium
Can you share the screen if it allows
supplier
you?
in
Otherwise,
the
don't worry about it.
Well, I don't like if it gives me crappy information, I don't like sharing it. I like to analyze what I'm looking at. That's why I normally don't share stuff from AI, because you never know really what you're going to get.
Give it a second. Maybe you can post in the chat, or you can share the screen, whatever you prefer.
Okay. See, look at this. There are three main dictators of the world: Russia,
Yeah, Russia is
China, and Vietnam. All
six.
three are dictators, and U.S. buys uh, more than $180 billion from China, and Vietnam $115 billion, and Russia around $2 to $3 billion, and it's diversified.
Yeah, it's a small. It's pretty insignificant for the numbers that you're saying. I don't think.
Yeah,
Even
and China is a
but
dictator, right?
we
And
know why.
wait. China is a dictator, and China buys more oil than India. And isn't that the money which is funding Russia-Ukraine war? Because US is
Right.
directly
You're
doing
right.
business with
China,
China.
you're correct on that. China and you guys are the two biggest suppliers of purchasers of oil from Russia in the world.
Okay,
And
guess
Iran.
which two countries are the largest population in the world?
And what's that supposed to
What
mean?
does the population have to do with
Okay,
where you buy
if
stuff from?
see, simple solution. India will stop buying Russian oil. No problem with that.
No,
Uh,
it's not. There is a
India,
problem because you guys can't. You guys would rather buy,
Yeah,
and rather than buying it from
let me
legitimate
complete.
sources, you go
Let
for
me
the
complete.
sanctioned
Wait,
oil
wait,
that's cut
wait,
rate.
wait,
Let
wait.
me complete why India can't.
Let me
Well,
finish,
let
then
me
you can
complete why
tell.
India can't. See, India can stop buying Russian oil and purchase it from USA at the same cost that Russia is selling it to India. And US, being a very big economy, can bear the burden, right? That's not a problem. It is
No, 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 no.
few
The only
hundred.
reason, the only
Sorry.
reason why your oil is so cheap from Russia is they're sanctioned all over the world. You're getting
Okay,
a
fine,
discount.
fine.
You're
No
getting
problem.
discount cheaper oil than anybody in the world because you're
Okay, no
buying oil
problem.
from a dictator who's been sanctioned everywhere.
US is not a dictator. So
Oh my
US
God.
can
What are you
He's
sell.
talking
saying
about?
that you guys, India, is using the fact that nobody else will buy Iranian and Russian oil because it's sanctioned to hell, and you are the only ones
Russian
besides
oil is not
China.
sanctioned. Who told you?
Wait,
Russian oil is not
Wait,
sanctioned. Iran is
wait,
it is
sanctioned.
wait. Let him
sanctioned.
finish.
It,
Let him finish.
first of
Sorry,
all, it
sorry, go
is
ahead.
sanctioned. Almost anything following the war in Ukraine from Russia right now, almost everything from Russia is either sanctioned or is in the process of becoming sanctioned. Number one. Number
Yeah,
two,
the second one. Yeah,
you are
sorry.
buying
Let him finish.
things,
Let him finish.
you are
Yeah, yeah.
buying
Go ahead.
oil you are buying oil
Mm-hmm.
from countries whose oil is sanctioned to hell, meaning nobody will buy it. So you are buying the oil at such a cheap cost that that Russia and Iran are selling their oil to you in a loss margin. But they need to get some money in, even though the money is so little because you're buying it so cheap. So it's not you struck a good market deal. You're just skirting the sanctions put on these countries while giving the U.S. and much of the world the middle finger,
Mm-hmm. Okay, may I?
while
Yeah.
also trying to use the fact that this did it, that did it, this did
Okay.
who and who did what as a justification and either a moral position. It is not a good idea because in the end, if India continues like this, in the end, India finds itself alone. It's a good way to ensure everybody on both sides hates you.
Okay,
Yeah.
now you can retaliate. What is your final answer to all this? But both from
Okay.
Israeli point of view and American point of view. Now it's India's turn to retaliate what it feels from an Indian point of view.
Okay, India does not buy any oil from Iran because it's under sanction and India respects the sanction. Iran, Venezuela, etc., is totally banned from selling their oil. Okay, and during the Biden government, in Indian company that is Reliance was allowed to purchase oil from Venezuela. Why did Biden allow Indian company to buy India? That's the only company that can buy Venezuelan oil. Why did he allow that? Secondly, Russian oil is not banned. It is under a price cap, and India is buying at the price cap and not above the price cap.
It's
So
not banned
India
by
is
who?
not. Let me complete,
It's not
please.
banned. It's not banned by who?
Not okay. Let me complete. See, um, Russian
Russian oil
oil.
is totally banned
Sorry.
by the United States. We have a total ban since 2002, 22.
No,
Yes,
Russian
yes,
oil is not banned.
You want
yes,
to
it
Can you
is.
prove
how about
that?
okay to break
Because
Yes,
this
it
because
down?
is.
I'm
How
looking
about
at
you post the
this.
Do
source?
it.
Post
Pull
the
up
source.
your Chat GPT and pull up. Did the United States directly uh, ban oil? Impose U.S. ban on import of Russian oil in March 2022. 20.
Somebody just post the source. It'll
Yes.
break the tie.
Just because India does not accept any unilateral sanctions, if it is a UN sanction, Only then
Oh,
India accepts
the
the
UN
sanction.
doesn't sanction almost
Sorry, go
anything.
ahead.
That's an asinine statement. The UN is not the arbiter of as a bad arbiter of who's the bad guy and who's the good guy and what we should do. So that's kind of asinine. You,
Okay, who?
my original statement still stands in the fact that you guys have no morals, and I'd like you to prove me wrong.
Okay, what
Because
morals are you
you
talking
guys, the
about?
only reason why
Do
you
you
buy
have
Russian
any?
oil when you could buy it from anywhere
Wait,
else in
wait,
the
wait,
world
wait, wait.
is
Does
because
US
you
has
can get it
this? You
for
said
almost
morals. You said
One at a
morals. Wait,
time.
wait, wait,
One at a
wait. No,
time.
no, no, no. See, does US has any morals when it dropped two atomic bombs on civilians of Japan?
Oh, for
Oh,
fuck's sake! Where
hey,
did you
Dora,
bring
hey,
us?
Dora, calm
Sorry,
down, calm
sorry.
down.
And here's the names
Hold
of
on
the.
a second. Hold on a second. I can let me answer that question because it's so easy because he's just deflecting and changing the subject. Now I recognize that, but let's talk about morals. You want to talk about morals in World War II and what Japan was doing? But let's talk. I mean, we can go on and talk about like what the Imperial Army of Japan was doing during World War II. But if you want to go talk about the nuclear bomb drop, let me tell you this. What do you think the losses in Japan would have been if we had to invade Japan like we had to invade Germany? Do you
US did
understand
not
the
invade
losses
Germany.
would
That
have
was
been?
Russia.
The losses would have been hundreds of times greater if we invaded Japan, and it would have been on it would hundreds of times greater on the Japanese side. We would have lost a lot of troops, just like we did in Europe.
Just
Um,
because you lost troops, so you can bomb civilians?
you're ignoring you're not listening to my statement. You're not listening to my statement. My statement is the object was to get Japan to surrender, which they were unable they were unwilling to surrender under any circumstances. And do you know understand how many civilians would have died had we done a full invasion of Japan? It would have been the biggest bloodbath of civilians of all time if we had to go and invade Japan. They had civilians. They were making civilians defend the country. So it would have been a massive bloodbath on both sides, and it would have been mostly Japanese civilians. That's the way it is in war. Unfortunately, civilians usually take the brunt of it. That's just the way it is in warfare. But what I'm trying to say is it to be honest with you, bombing Japan the way we did, in a limited way we did, and forcing them to surrender saved millions of lives in Japan. Millions of civilian lives in Japan. It would have been, if we had to invade, it would have been a utter it would have been utter devastation in the entire country. I mean,
Wait.
back then we didn't have precise munitions. We would firebomb cities to the ground. I mean, that's really how you have to fight when you don't have precise munitions. I mean, take a look at Europe after World War II. Was there anything left there? There wasn't much left there after World War II.
No,
So
no.
you really want to talk about why we like the morality of dropping the bombs? There's a lot of morality in dropping the bombs. We saved millions and millions of lives, mostly civilian, by dropping
Okay.
those bombs in two cities and
Okay.
forcing the surrender, which they for a little while there we didn't even think they were going to do, and they finally
Yeah.
and the
Just
imperial
a second, Karen.
finally
Let me
surrendered.
finish.
But I happen to know a lot about this subject. I mean, my grandma's a Holocaust survivor. I know a hell of a lot. I've studied World War II a hell of a lot to really understand everything. But the bombing of Japan was the last time nuclear weapons have ever been used in warfare, and rightfully so. It pretty much stopped the war. It was the tool of last resort. We didn't want to, but if we invaded Japan, I'm telling you, there would have been nothing left in Japan if we if we invaded there. And I can tell you, people in Japan still love Americans. I was there. I spent a month in Japan. I've spoken to Japanese people. I talked to them about World War II, and most of them understand why things happened the way they happened, and they're happy at the result because we made them into a what they are today. They're an
Question.
Asian country today. We helped
Question.
revitalize them just like we did with Germany.
Okay,
Okay,
now you
question.
can respond to your question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just have a single question. Were you fighting Japanese army or the Japanese civilians
What are you talking about? Where? What are you referring to?
during 1945, just before you dropped nuclear bombs on the two cities? Were you
Well,
fighting Japanese
of,
army or the civilians?
of course, we were fighting the Japanese army, but we didn't invade
Then
Japan
you could have
proper.
dropped
Hold on a minute. Hold
nuclear
on a
bomb.
minute. Did you hear the
Let
last thing
him,
I said?
let him
Sorry,
finish.
sorry, go
We did
ahead.
not invade Japan proper. We were fighting their outpost. We destroyed their outpost and dropped our troops and landed where their military bases were. But if we were to invade Japan proper, which is what we didn't do, things would have been very differently, and we would have had to fight civilians and what we it would have been, put it this way, it's very hard to
Oh my
distinguish
God, kid.
in World War II between civilians and non-civilian targets when you don't have precise munitions back then, and we did not have precise munitions. No
Okay.
country did really.
If you have to drop a bomb on Japan, you could have dropped it on a military target.
Hexar, if I may, allow me to take this one.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Kiran,
Go
listen.
ahead.
In the end of the day, all targets in Japan would have been a combination of military and civilian targets. All right? It's a sad reality that the bomb were necessary to be dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. However, the alternative, as Hexar has explained very thoroughly, would have been much, much worse. The war would have been prolonged. Civilian casualties on Japan's mainland would have been catastrophic. Japan would have been crushed. They wouldn't have surrendered. They would have been crushed to the point that Japan would have suffered the same fate as Germany, being cut into four pieces between the four allies. And I believe that even the Japanese, with hindsight, realized that the dropping of the bombs was much more preferable than being occupied by the Soviet Union that you're
Well,
apparently
Dora,
favor.
I don't necessarily feel that it would have been similar, as you're saying, to Germany. I don't know if I don't think Russia would have joined us in that fight. I don't
No,
know
no,
if
you don't understand. You need to
that's
remember.
Russia was
Oh,
fighting along the
wait,
side of
I
the
haven't
US.
finished. Listen, both of you.
Okay, go ahead.
Something that many people seem to forget. It wasn't just a matter. It wasn't just a need to make Japan to surrender. It was also a race against the clock, not just to end the war, but also to end the war quickly, both to minimize human losses is also on both sides, but also to make sure that Japan surrendered before the Soviet military would manage to arrive to invade Japan themselves. Because you need to remember
Soviet.
that fact as well.
Mhm. Okay, now let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay, Soviet was fighting alongside of US, and Soviet defeated Germany for US. And regarding Japan, you could have dropped a nuclear bomb on an island where there are only military targets. Why civilian? Do you
Because
know how
somebody, and
many
let me
people
tell you why.
get
I
hit
can
on
even,
this?
Wait,
yeah,
wait, wait. Let him finish. Let him finish. Then you can
See,
retaliate.
how many? The result of dropping a nuclear bomb on civilian target, the suffering, the people, they are still suffering, and the mutation is still going on. You could have dropped on any damn island, and the military would have been obliterated, right? But instead, you dropped on a civilian target, and you're talking about morality, saying that you would have. I mean, many people would have died so far. What morality is that?
Hexar, do you want to answer him or I?
I wonder if he's there. Hexar.
I think he got a call or something.
Okay, how about
Then
you answer?
then I will answer. Two things you need to remember. Those were, first of all, the Japanese didn't surrender after the first bomb, so the United States was forced to use the second. Again, we are talking about a question of numbers. Nobody, if you're going to hear somebody saying, "Oh, it's good that the United States dropped the bombs," nobody's going to say that. But the thing is that it's a question of relative suffering. Is the suffering of two cities regrettable? Yes. In comparison to the worst scenario that Hexar explained, it is preferable. Secondly, the reason why the bombs couldn't have been dropped on, say, uh,
I'm
military
gonna show this.
military
Here we
command.
go. It's
I
getting hot,
couldn't. I
guys.
tell you, I couldn't talk because you force muted me, and I had 20 pop-ups trying to
Right.
control my
Yeah.
microphone.
China, Russia, and Iran have
Here,
interests
watch
in
this.
Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes to
terms
the
of
oil and the
China
drugs?
and Russia, well,
Yeah, I've
Russia
already
when
seen
we
this.
get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Mr. President, China, Russia,
Okay.
and Iran have
What
interests
I
in
saw that
Venezuela. How does this
you're
operation
playing a
affect your
second time.
relationships
I
with them
I
when it
saw
comes to the
that when
oil
it
and the
occurred.
China
drugs?
What's
and
the
Russia.
question about that?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it to the table. Things are becoming hot, but the bottom line is like, if
Yeah,
just
again,
like Mike
if
said it,
you
Hexar said
sorry.
it. Hexar has said it that they have taken the oil from the Americans before, and the easy way out. At some point, they want to gain it back, basically.
No,
See
we will get
again.
our money
Okay.
back, and we will then use the money for the oil, basically for helping rebuild and beautifying the country Venezuela, where the money should have been going, except being stolen by the Maduro regime. So in the end, I wish we would have not spent so long talking about a subject that had nothing to do with the discussion. World War II has nothing to do with what's going on
Yeah,
today.
and trying to paint
It got debated. Yeah, right.
bombing of Japan as a moral failing of the United States is a very weak discussion because I can assure you the Americans are doing it to themselves already. And to be honest, the fact that the war, thanks to that the war, the World War II ended quickly and not being prolonged by another 2 years is a good thing.
Okay. May I?
Yes, yeah, and then I'll conclude this.
If you say India,
Stick with Venezuela. That's the
Yes,
subject.
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
See, okay. If you say India has no moral for buying cheap Russian oil, okay, fine. Again, India has nothing to do with Iran or North Korea. We don't do any business with these two countries. And related to Venezuela, even with Venezuela, India does not do any business. However, there is a small amount of business allowed by Biden to Reliance. That's the only company in the world which got the license. And related to cheap Russian oil, India can buy the same amount of oil, the same amount of price tag, any country which sells, including US or Canada or Nigeria or any country, India is happy to buy it from them. Go
All
ahead.
right. Well, you are. I'm going to fact check you because you made incorrect. You definitely don't buy oil from North Korea, and North Korea doesn't have much oil. But Iranian oil, yes, you've been buying Iranian oil for a long time. India halted significant oil imports in 2019 due to U.S. sanctions. Which, see, you're lying about saying that you follow the UN, the only UN sanctions. In 2019, you stopped buying Iranian oil because of the U.S. sanctions, but for some reason today, you guys don't care about that stuff anymore, and you like the UN is going to regulate something like this. The UN is basically a useless organization. But you dropped your oil to nearly zero in 2019, but in 2025 you resumed modestly at 111 million shipments in June, the first since 2018, and 94 million in petroleum products, totaling 205 million for oil related goods in early 2025. overall 2024 and 2025 remain low compared to your other crude needs, but by saying that you don't buy their oil is not true and incorrect, factually inaccurate. You do. You get 30 to 38% of your oil from Russia. You get 20 to 21% of your oil from Iraq. You get 15 to 18 from Saudi Arabia and about 8 to 10 from the UAE. There's nothing wrong with that except for the Russia part of this, which is what I've been trying to tell you. You get majority of your oil from Russia because you get it dirt cheap with no having no morals, and you also get it from Iran. So I mean, what we said was true. I don't ever said you get it from North Korea. North Korea doesn't really sell too much oil. I don't know anything about that, but you get about 230 to 240 million tons annually of crude oil from uh, Iranian oil. So what you said was factually inaccurate.
All right, guys. I'm gonna get ready to end the show till we do another debate show, depending on what's about to happen. As there's a lot of stuff that US is about to open, and yes, we will do a podcast
Let
again.
me complete. Complete this statement.
Okay.
See, India buys oil from Russia 35%, Iraq 22%, USA 12%, Saudi Arabia 10%, etc. India does not buy any oil from Iran because India and Iran does not have a uh, uh, Vostro or Nostro account with each other, and Iran's international, your dollar thing is cancelled right now. They are removed from SWIFT, so we don't have a payment system to pay Iran. We have a Nostro or Vostro account, whatever it is, rupee and ruble trade. We do buy Russian oil, and Russian any kind of war. We are not okay. We are. What's this? What happened?
Uh, when you give money
The
to fund
preview is over, is it? Okay, it just
Russian
landed in preview. Okay.
sanctioned oil, that's
Okay,
sanctioned by the
debate is
United
over,
States,
man. We have ended the debate.
done before, and you've honored our sanctions before by not skirting them. And today you guys have made the decision in the last several years to ignore our sanctions on Iranian oil. I mean, Iranian and Russian oil, and skirted them
She
to
has ended the
enrich
debate.
yourselves and cheap
She has
oil.
ended the debate.
No,
In
I'm gonna
preview.
let him finish. Then I'm gonna close it out. So like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. I was just closing the
You know where the
debate
money
when
that you
you.
guys are giving Russia is going. Don't lie about that. You know where it's going. It's funding the
Yeah, we
war in
are buying
Ukraine.
oil. We are not selling any weapons to them.
I
So
didn't say
what
anything
is
about
the
weapons.
problem?
Money
Nobody
buys
said
weapons.
you
All you
buy
need is money.
weapons.
All you need to do is enrich a country with money, and that
Yeah,
money is equal to weapons.
US is buying fertilizers and
All
uranium,
right, we
which
can.
is
Oh my
Russian
God! Now you're
contribution.
changing the subject again.
Okay. This is gonna be for next debate. Right now, there's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that's about to
Sure, sure, sure.
open in the
Okay.
like next
just
two
so
three
you
weeks.
Mm,
know,
Hold it in.
just so you know about the fertilizer and uranium, the only reason why we buy the insignificant amount of fertilizer and uranium from Russia is because there is no readily sources available to exchange the amount that we
So
need.
what
And
happened to your oil
we've
then?
been reducing the dependence on those, and the Ukrainian war has hurt the fertilizer industry greatly because a lot of the fertilizer was coming from Ukraine.
Yeah, buy
No,
it from India, man. Buy it from India. Why
oh yeah.
Russia?
So you can give the money to Russia, right? We're gonna give you guys money so you can give it to Russia. No
Man.
thanks. I don't think we should give you guys any money.
Anyways, let's continue it later. Okay, she has ended the debate.
Yes, that's the way we've
So,
been
It
on
was a good
2 hours.
debate. Nice talking with you, Corinne.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do another one, Haxar and Dor and Kieran,
That
because
thing, damn it.
yes, there's a lot to open up next week. So we'll have our next debate. What is U.S. about to do next week? And I'll inform you guys ahead of time. Other than that, it was a good debate for everybody to watch. We have 77 people watching the entire political conversation.
Yeah. Enjoy, guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Take care.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye bye.